Maybe it's the
Hello.
shades, my friend. It's blocking your views. But I can't hear you now. I can't. Oh,
All
okay.
right.
Okay. I can't hear him either. Can you guys hear me?
But okay, why my am to hear Hona not to interest. Is that working? No, it's
Yeah,
fine.
it's
Yeah.
fine now.
Okay, that's cool. Can you hear us on Twitter Space? Can you give us like some reaction if the sound is good? That's man, like since I'm back from France, like I'm rusty as fuck, man.
It's all right, man. It's all right. We don't we know mistakes happen. We know
Yeah.
we got to get back into the swing of things, right? So
That's cool. Okay, yeah, so people can hear us too. So I think it's fine, which is weird because the Bluetooth on my computer is not. Okay, maybe back to your speaker. Okay, no. Okay, now it should be even better. Can you hear us in the chat? I'm sure. Like, is that working? Can you still hear me, Rob? It's fine.
I can
Great
hear
audio
you.
on
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, somebody said great audio on YouTube.
Yes.
So
Okay.
yep.
Okay. Cool.
We're
Cool.
good.
Cool. Yes, and it's good apart from the French
Sounds good
accent.
apart from the French accent. Awesome.
So we live. Okay, sorry about that. So some connection. Okay, so blah blah blah. Nice introduction. Welcome back to the Decoder channel. Tonight, man, that's a shame because that's the first ever sponsor stream of the channel. Thank you so much, Rob, for that. You made history of the channel, and yeah, you will always be the first one.
We'll always have that. We'll always have that, my friend. So
exactly. And today we are going to talk about Plato. I don't know if you say it like that way, but is that like the
So the name
right?
actually had a couple of reasons why we named it Plato. Honestly, it was a play on words because in Spanish, plato means plates, and we wanted to have a name that recognize food, but also has two syllables. So if you kind of think about all the tech companies, right? Apple, Google, Uber. And so one of our founding member, this guy Kevin, he said, "Hey, when we name something, it's got to be two syllables." So we think like, okay, what do we do? So that's why Plato that came about. Two syllable means plates related to food.
That's cool.
But hey, our logo, it looks like a seat, so who knows?
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And so, do you say that it's like the it to earn projects?
Yeah. So I would say we grew out of kind of towards the end of the bull market. And, honestly, this whole like X to earn was, it was pretty exciting when all that, like, if you probably remember Step In, remember all those kind of X to earn type of sort of apps and services. And one thing that caught really my eye, along with my friend Dante, my co-founder Dante, was how the speculative of Web3, which is not a bug, right? It's a feature of Web3. How that really drove not just the Web3 community, but also the Web2. So we really believe that if we can pair that sort of that superpower of Web3 speculation to drive initial adoption, and then paired with a business model that actually is sustainable, I think that's the winning combo, right? Very similar to what you guys are doing, right? What Decoder is doing, which is like, and we talked a little bit about it yesterday, right? Which is, there's an existing YouTube, TikTok, all that community that are watching videos as a daily habit, but there's an actual business already behind it called the YouTube ads, right? But it's not really good for the advertiser. And we kind of pointed out some of the problems. And so I think we took a look at retail. I grew up around my uncle's restaurant, really around how we bring people back into restaurants and how restaurant owners can advertise, and it's
Yeah.
broken, right? So I talk about this a lot, which is if I'm a restaurant owner and I put some ads on Facebook, YouTube, TripAdvisor or Yelp even, and I can get clicks, but I don't know how many people that click and went to my website actually come into my store, into my restaurant, right? That is a gap that which what we're hoping to solve. And so I think because there's so much frustration around restaurant owners,
Yeah.
things are getting expensive. People are using Uber Eats and DoorDash to order, like all these different factors that's really impacting restaurant owners. And that's really why I actually try to create this for my uncle. But unfortunately, my uncle actually had to close his restaurant just as we started Plato. So he
Mm.
closed at the beginning of 2022 after like almost 38 years of operation.
Yeah.
So it's quite sad. But that's really the reason why
Mm.
myself, Dante, we kind of started this. I mean, starting a new project, a new startup is not fun, right? And so I was like in a pretty cushy job in like a venture backed, startup that we had 50 people. We had over $20 million in funding. I was the COO, but
Mhm.
I felt pretty strongly about what's happening to my uncle and all the restaurant owners out there that I feel like, hey, I feel like we can make a difference.
Yeah.
So
And like Web3 like opened the doors to so many like solution, again, like as a like highly targeted advertising, like we mentioned, like you mentioned it like earlier and even like yesterday in your space. I think that's maybe like one of the biggest vertical and the biggest utility of Web3. Like be able to talk to like the people who are like seeing your ads and like who you advertise to. It's so
yeah,
powerful.
I mean, think about it, right? So I'll make two analogies for Decoder and for Plato, right?
Mm.
So if I'm a really established restaurant and I have thousands and thousands of reviews on Google Maps,
Yeah.
I have no idea who these people are. I don't know if these people love Chinese. Let's say I'm a Chinese restaurant, and I don't know if the people that just gave me a 3-star is because they love barbecue and they love
Yeah.
pizza places, and this is one of the few times they went to Chinese place versus maybe somebody gave me a 5-star and that person is like a Chinese cuisine connoisseur. And
Yeah.
so I think through Plato, and we're about to roll this out, which is as you're checking into different restaurant, if you check in 3 times to a 3 unique restaurant that is a sushi cuisine, we'll give you a sushi cuisine connoisseur. You checked in over 50 times, right? You earn the level 4 sushi connoisseur. So
Mm.
basically, as owners, I can say, hey, I'm rolling out a new dish and I want to get to all the Chinese cuisine connoisseur and let them come and try first, right? And vice versa. If I'm a user reading a review and the last review I read was 1 star at this restaurant, but maybe that
Mm.
1 star was coming from somebody who loves like, seafood, but, or maybe some other cuisine and not Chinese cuisine. And I wouldn't really care about what they say, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of signal and that kind of ability for us to bring that to not just user but also the restaurant owners, that's really powerful. Same thing with Decoder, right?
Yeah.
Like if let's just say I'm right making a YouTube video on certain things and a bunch of people saying, hey, this is shit or this is great, this is shit. And as an advertiser, right, who
Mm.
who produced the content, I'd be like, hey, I don't care about all the haters because you know what? They love like,
Yeah.
sort of other kind of videos where my videos I care about this audience. So I
Yes.
think that's one of the benefit I think that we
Mm.
can do with our platforms is to
Yeah.
really highlight right who is what kind of role do they play within the network, and
Mhm.
do I as an advertiser or I as a user care about what they say.
Yeah.
So I think that's really the power. So
It's massive. And what's the workflow in the app right now? So I'm a Plato, like I'm a foodie holder. I'm going to the restaurant. What do I do is that at the end of the like the meal? Like what's happening?
Wait, repeat that again. Sorry.
What's the workflow in the app? So I have the app, and like, what do I do when I go to a restaurant?
Yeah. So basically, you download our app, and right now we have a referral going on. But once you get a referral and you download, you literally go walk into any restaurant that you like.
Mhm.
You can check in. So the way we do it is, you can check in at any local restaurant that you can find on Google Maps. You can actually do it right on Plato. And once you check in, and so we obviously use some we use GPS to say, are you actually there or not?
Okay.
And so, unlike Foursquare, which they also do that, what we also ask the user after they check in is take photos of the food for the first time that they're at the restaurant. But then also required is the receipt, right? So the
Mhm.
idea is a proof of purchase or verification of that purchase. I remember the days of Foursquare where you check into a
Yeah.
restaurant, you don't have to say like I bought certain things, and so anybody can go and check in. And so I remember, I was trying to compete for a mayorship, and
Yes.
we were just going there to check in every day, like check in, check in. I wasn't
Yeah.
buying anything. So to the restaurant, that doesn't really help them, right? So I think when we kind of thought about how can we leverage the Web3 superpower, but also how do we provide value to the merchant?
Mhm.
That's really what we're trying to figure out. And a lot of people ask me, right, who is my customer, right? And so I can ask you, like, who do you think your customers are?
Mm. Uh,
And so
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, for the channel, like, okay, so basically, like I want to produce a business podcast about Web3, and like that's why I'm going to ask you about like monthly active user, like shit like that, like business KPIs. But I want to talk to myself, but like 2 or 3 years ago, because that's I want to invest into project that will turn into valuable business, not just like someone like started an NFT because it was hype 2 years ago. And that's why I like Plato too, because like there is a real value, real business behind it, and that's dope. Yeah,
Yeah. And to the question that people ask me, who is my customer?
yeah,
I would say that, the customers that we're serving, and when I say customer, is paying customer, right? The people that are paying Plato is the
hmm,
restaurant. And so I think that really, even though Plato Eats the app is for a consumer, and they're also our customer, but at the same time, we're making the app for the consumers. But really, the business that we're building, the paying customer is the restaurant. And
yeah,
so I think what we're trying to do is strike that balance between, we want to give user a gamified dining experience. I always talk about this because
hmm,
in about a couple weeks, right? At the end of every meal, just like you go to a Chinese restaurant in the U.S. In China, it never happens. In Taiwan, it never happens. But in U.S. at least, you get a fortune cookie, right? You get a little
yeah,
fortune cookie. You can open up. There's a little note. What we do with Play-Doh, though, is you get a surprise at the end of every meal, after every check-in and verification of the receipt. You get to wheel spin. And so we wanted this gamified dining experience where you potentially can win the value of what you capture on the receipt in USDC. So meaning if you spend $20 on a meal or $50 on a meal, you could potentially win that in $50
that's cool.
USDC, because we want to gamify the dining experience. Why? Because we want to engage the user. We want to
Yeah,
make sure people, love to use Play-Doh, and every time they go dining, they're like, oh, let me Play-Doh this,
yeah,
right? And I still, from the days of Stepin, I still use Stepin here and there.
mm,
But the for me was, if you look at Stepin, was if they had I don't know, somehow this, and I think they tried, right? The sneaker makers, or maybe sporting goods, stores, if they can somehow get them to sponsor a lot of the rewards, right? With the GMT and GST, I think that would have made it sustainable,
yeah,
because I really love that viral loop that they built with the price of the GMT and GST,
mm,
to drive user. Because if you think about it, Steppen, their marketing was their price of the token. So,
exactly.
um,
Which
but
killed
they
the
also
project.
died because the price of the token.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like
yeah,
you have a token that was like $1 every time you take a step, and then 2 weeks after, you get like a token that's worth like 10 cents every time you make a step. Like you say, oh fuck, what am I doing that, right?
Right, right.
It's
And
yeah, it's
honestly,
tricky.
there's no barrier of entry, meaning that like anybody can walk,
Yeah,
anybody can, right. So the only barrier of entry is like, oh, I need to get a $1,000 sneaker or $500 sneaker, right?
yeah.
But there's no barrier of entry after that. And so again, I think I'm not saying Plato figured it out. Honestly, we are
Mm,
still trying to figure out ourselves because I think what they've done with the price drove that growth, but then
yeah.
they died because of that. So is there a way we can drive it because of our other like basically a product market fit plus
Mm,
the token price,
yeah,
but then the token price has to be ready because the
yeah.
revenue side, like is ready. So if you check out our light paper, and I'll put a post there, really it's the buying pressure that we're trying to build for Dine tokens is
Mm,
from the restaurant, right? And so you have to have enough restaurant to be spending on Plato for us to open that up, so that it's okay. People are selling or buying because the restaurant is buying. And so
yeah,
that's really, yeah, that's really the secret, not the secret, but that's really the nut that the puzzle we're trying to crack,
yeah.
right? So
I just
but yeah.
dropped the docs in the
Oh yeah,
chat.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah.
So yeah, basically you have like that's what like that's a question you asked me because yesterday about like the views token and the sustainability of these all watch to earn meta and stuff like that. And I have a couple of people also like coming around and telling me like, yeah, it could be tricky tokenomics, blah blah. Basically, our job is like to yeah, like reward like our user with like the token. And
Yes.
even if they sell it right away and then dump it every day, our job is like to make like so much buy pressure that it's still sustainable, and then it rotate, and then it can be like basically, yeah, again, a good business to go with like a Web3 token, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like
Yeah.
I said, I love kind of what you guys are doing because I do think that there's a huge market
Mm,
in sort of video advertisement. I mean, you
yeah.
see YouTube, right? So so that's why I feel like what you guys are doing is analogous to what we're doing,
Mm,
but in the retail space, right? In
yeah.
the retail restaurant and others. So
No,
yeah.
no, that and there's more and more project like doing like again, like I know you are friend also with like Asset Dash, and it's the same kind of model too, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
yeah, like
Yeah, yeah.
it's
We love the Acid Dash
yeah,
project as well. I met the founder in ETH Denver.
yeah,
Really cool dude.
yeah.
So yeah, and he's based in New York.
Yeah.
Hoping I'll see him.
It's another
Because like
breakpoint.
there's a mainnet happening in NYC. So
Yeah.
I hope I'll get to meet some of the builders.
It's
So
coming at another breakpoint too. So yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, are you coming to? Like
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
Breakpoint, we were there last year.
Mhm,
I think this year, so we're gonna go to Turkey for Dev Connect,
mhm.
and I think we'll make it to the Hacker House as well as Breakpoint. So, but we're trying to figure out. I
Yeah.
can't be everywhere, or else my wife is gonna kill me.
That's the problem for another streamer.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
And no, I didn't use Plato before, but yeah, like I need to dine out a bit more. Do you have restaurant in Malta, or like I can go to
Yes,
your
yes.
own
So,
board
like I
restaurant?
was telling
Okay,
you,
that's cool.
we have. So we did a mint back in May,
Mhm.
and it was really all the mint is really for the restaurant actually. So we had I think about 10 or 15 restaurant, and there's a few restaurant in Malta
Mm,
owned by like
that's
two or
cool.
three different guys, but it's the same group. And so there's one. So I'll send you the list. I'll send you the
Okay.
list. So you can actually go there and get
Ooh,
15% off if you get the Plato Eats pass. So
that's cool.
I'll send you I'll send you a link to get the Plato Eats pass, but you can show the Plato Eats pass, and you can
Nice.
get 15% off IRL. And if you use the app with the table, you can actually get a 3% cash back in
That's cool.
USDC.
Nice.
So
Oh yeah, that's what you say. Okay,
so
that's
it's
cool.
the fact that you're in Malta, you should take
Nice.
advantage because there's like literally
Okay.
5 restaurants in the same downtown area that you
Mm,
can go. There's like a sushi place, there's a
that's
bar.
cool.
Yeah. So
Ooh.
I'll send it to you. So
I hope you have my favorite place when like they have the best spicy mango spicy mojito that I ever drink. And if you like, yeah,
well,
if
hey,
there is a
whether you're at
plateau,
the
yeah, it's cool.
bar or you're at a sushi restaurant, you could capture it because yeah,
Yeah.
we recognize
Ooh.
drinks as part of food. So
Oh,
but yeah, so yeah.
And how do you onboard restaurant? Like, do you have to sell them like one by one, like your application,
No,
or do you
that's a
have?
great point. So in the beginning, yes, I think right now we are.
Yeah,
No doubt about it. So Hana Japan, O'Connor's, the Three Biz, like all these different restaurants that we've been kind of inbound, or we got to know them. It's
mhm,
because of me and my
yeah,
team. Now, the goal though, right, is that you as a foodie, or you as somebody who loves to go out and eat, a small portion of Plato users can
yeah,
actually onboard a restaurant,
yes,
and they earn what we call a merchant ambassador badge. And
yes.
you actually get a
That's smart.
percentage of what that restaurant will spend going forward, because that NFT that you earn, the ambassador badge, will basically, like every quarter, right, will basically say, hey, this restaurant that you brought in, this is how much they spend, and this is the amount that it goes to you as a commission. Call it commission, call it
That's dope.
revenue sharing. So that's actually the way we want to scale up the restaurant merchant acquisition.
Yeah,
Not
that's
not
pretty
because
cool.
of Plato, but because of
Yeah,
our users. So that's really the key difference between what we're trying to do with YouTube, like sorry, with like Yelp or
yeah.
TripAdvisor and all those guys. So yeah.
That's pretty cool because like yeah, I was thinking like yeah, you would have need to like to do like the Uber tactic like to launch a city, right? Like you have like the team going to yeah every city,
Yeah.
so they launch city by city in the
City by
US
city.
and then in the
Yeah.
world, yeah.
Yeah.
And they need like 3 months to follow the playbook and to launch Uber in that city. But yeah, if you have your user able like to take a pictures and boom, the restaurant is there.
Yeah.
That's cool. Maybe I can
Yeah. Yeah.
onboard a
Yeah.
couple of restaurant in Malta. That would be cool.
Yeah, man. So yeah, and I would say our user growth has been pretty crazy in the last week or
Yes.
so. If you download the app or you go to our Twitter page, right now we're running a referral, and this referral program has caught on fire. Like,
Yeah.
I think we're now just over 5,000 users. But before like this week, we were just hovering about 1,000 maybe.
Hmm.
And so we really caught this referral program has really took off. And this is my third startup. And I've done referral program on my first startup. Was a mobile security company,
Hmm.
a Uber for valet company in New York City. It was my second one, and we tried referrals, and it just never worked as well as it
Yeah.
has this time. So,
Okay.
so anyway, so it's been pretty good.
That's
So I
nice
think
to
the
hear.
user adoption now, with all these new users, now we're kind of driving down the funnel, which is checking out a
Mm.
restaurant and get them use it as a habit, right? And so there are several things we're doing to get people to obviously, like, hey, you're a Web 2 user or Web 3 user. Either way, if you're eating, pull out
Mm.
that Plato app. And so we've done things like integrating into Google Maps, because we know everybody use Google Maps.
Yeah.
And so if you right now, actually, if you have the app, um, what you can do. So actually, let me put it
Yeah.
here.
So yeah.
The download link is start. So getplato.app/start. So when you actually download the app, then after you download the app, you go to Google Maps.
Mhm.
You will see actually a Plato logo when you try to share the location of the restaurant that you want to go to. You can share with the Plato app, and it will open up that restaurant page right within Plato. So you don't even have
Okay.
to search. In fact, we encourage you to use Google Map first, and then come into Plato, and then do the check in, do the receipt capture there.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different ways that we can actually try this. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. Like, yeah, like when like so Genma said, by the way, thank you for the introduction. Like, I needed to do my research before downloading anything, but now after the stream, man, like I'm gonna download the app. I'm gonna unboard.
Oh,
It's gonna
good, man. Oh,
it's gonna
good.
be nice.
Yeah, yeah. And so I will tell everybody who's watching or listening is
Yeah.
that on iOS we're currently on we're all in beta right now.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So
but on
that's flight
iOS you have to download you first. So if you go to that from your
link.
mobile, the
Yeah.
slash start, it would say, hey, first step, get the test
That's
flight.
flight. Yes.
Once you get the test flight, then go back to the page and click the
Mm.
download. So then this way
Okay.
you won't be asked for any redemption code from test flight, all that. So
Mm.
it's done that way. Why are we still keeping the beta? Just because we want to make sure everything, especially around the tokenomics, which what we talked about yesterday, right? When the tokenomics working, then I feel like we want to put it out there in the general app store. But right now,
Mm,
Android is fairly easy. It's still in beta too. You can't
mm,
find it. Go to Google Play Store, but when you click on it, it takes you to the Play Store. It's hidden basically, and you can download it right from Play Store.
nice.
So.
And how many monthly active users do you have?
So, like I said, we're just shy of 6,000
That's
currently,
okay. That's cool.
and the
That's
growth
cool.
has been pretty crazy. So, yeah,
And that's a good number. Like even like in a consumer app, like a normal consumer app, like getting to 10,000 users, it's oh,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
freaking hard. And like yeah,
It is
like
freaking
if
hard.
yeah,
Yeah.
and doing that during the blue market because you are like here since a year, right? Like you launched a year ago.
So no, we launched the app. So here's the history, right? So we started to build, I would say, just around August of last year.
Okay.
We launched our mint December 2nd of our PFPs,
Mm-hmm.
which I'll talk about some of the PFP things that are coming. And then we launched the app within 60 days after we mint, because that was the promise to the community. Like, hey, if
That's
you
cool.
mint on December 2nd,
Mm,
before 60 days mark, we'll have basically the utilities to get to use the app plus a couple other things.
mm-hmm.
And so we were able to launch, I think, January 27th or 28th of this year.
Mm,
And I would say at first we had activation codes. Only PFP owners can actually download the app. So we kept the tests
was
very
better. Yeah.
private, and it's
That's
still
cool.
pretty private at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we only launched a referral, the feature itself, about 3 weeks ago, and then we just did this campaign last Friday, and so we've been driving pretty crazy. So I would say before a week ago, at this moment, a
Mm-hmm.
week ago, our usership was probably about 1,000, like 950, 960. But now, like we're close to
That's cool.
6,000. So
Congrats, man.
it's crazy growth right now. So
That's good.
I would say it's so crazy where our SMS. So we use a SMS service to send out verification code. It got taken down because we hit
Fuck.
our limit. So we had to go to our backup plan, which is using email. So we actually
Yeah.
built in backup plans, not to anticipate this, but it
Mm,
was more to support countries like Russia or
mm.
countries like China, countries like Singapore, where they don't allow you as a foreign business to send text unless you're registered in Singapore as a
Yeah.
business. And I'm like, that's
So much
too much
friction.
fucking
Yeah.
like crazy steps. So we just basically built in the email as a backup. You still have to have a phone number, and we
Mm-hmm.
check for duplicates. We check for the number being an actual SIM-based phone number, so you can't use a Google Voice or Voice over IP. So we do all these checks. But I guess the point is that the growth has been pretty crazy in the last few days. That
Mm-hmm.
our SMS service was broken. It's back up now.
It's good problem to have.
But for some countries, we still kind of kept it
Yeah.
using email because it's much more reliable.
Yeah.
So like in India, in a few other countries. So
Yeah. That's good, man. Like, yeah, it's growth issues to have. That's cool. Like, same thing for us. Like, when we announced like the free mint, like the app was working pretty well, and then we announced like zero sol mint, and then we went from 3,000 server to 15,000 server, and then the claiming process started to get a little bit junky.
I know, man.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
cool.
growing pains, growing pains.
Yeah, but it's
So
good. But it's better
yeah,
to have those problems than just waiting for people to test your
yeah,
working app, but no one is really using it, so it works fine. Yeah,
yeah.
move
So
fast and break things, but try to not break things.
that's right. That's right. And that's why we don't want to put it on the App Store yet,
Yeah.
right? So once you put it on the App Store, then right, it's like so right now at least we can control, right? We can
Mm,
take down the slash start, like we have a lot more control and quicker. I
mhm.
mean, sure, we can take it down from the App Store, but once we're on, we want to make sure we're on. We don't want to take it on and off and on and
Yeah.
off. So,
And okay, so a question for Machi in the chat. Okay, so I will summarize it, but like basically, do you want to grow in Web 2 or Web 3 audience first?
No, Web3. It's all about
Yeah,
Web3 for us,
yeah.
right? If you like, again, we're students of Web3. We're
Mm,
students of the feature of speculatory type of mentality that drive
yeah.
people into a project. I think if we can drive Web3 people, and especially eating, right? Especially
Mm,
eating. which is whether you're Web 3 or Web 2, you're going to eat.
Yeah.
Where DeFi projects, right? It's like, hey, am I going to tell my buddy about liquid staking and then like have to
Yeah.
explain to him what staking is and then what liquid staking is and then actually unramp and all that kind of stuff? With
Mhm.
eating, it's much easier. So, but we do believe that we want to get Web3 users in and then let them, right, invite their friends, let them
Yeah.
explain about
Yeah.
Plato
That's
while
cool.
having dinner,
Yeah.
while having lunch. And that's really actually it's been carried out. And so this weekend, and I'll announce it because it's Thursday, it's going to come out in the app. Where we're gonna, so a lot of the referrals that people have been doing this weekend as an added bonus to the contest is if you go out and eat with somebody that you referred and you guys together dine using the Plato Eats app, capture receipt, capture food, and post it on Twitter, you get entered a chance to win more money. I think it's like $88.88 USDC, in addition
Cool.
to like the $1,500 that we'll announce in a couple weeks. So we're going to do that this weekend. This is our weekend challenge. We typically have a weekend challenge every week, and so that's in the app. So yeah, so that's something that we're going to do because, like I said, right, people have been referring their friends, and I doubt all those people are Web3 people.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some, right? But
Mm.
it's gonna spread to Web2 people, and that's the time to be like, hey, come, let's
Yeah.
together use the app in the restaurant. And so
That's cool.
you want to activate them, and then you want
Mm.
to engage them. So
Yeah. And it's good
within the
content for crypto Twitter too. Like it's yeah, like user content generated. That's good for you, and that's good for everyone. Yeah, you're probably gonna have like, bro, you can be the next Tinder. Like,
well, no,
like yeah,
I mean, look,
asking from
we got to
dates
start
and
somewhere,
stuff.
right? We got to start somewhere. We have big visions, but we got to start somewhere.
It's
So
cool.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
cool.
We got to start somewhere. So, but yeah, like posts like this is what people can do right from the app. So I'll send it there. But like this is one of the guy, I guess, one of our users that posted. So right within the app,
Yeah.
you
Wait,
can
when did you
when you
send it?
finish. I just posted on the chat. Can you see that or no?
Is that our own chat? Because there is a chat in the app. No, it's not here.
Oh, it's in
What
the
is
no,
it?
no, it's in the I think it's in the YouTube
YouTube chat?
chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I
You see
don't
that?
see it on
Oh,
my replay, but
here,
maybe.
I'll send it to you, and maybe you can
Okay.
send it
Yes.
to. Let me see. Let me see.
Yeah. The chat. Ochi, do you see like Rob messages on YouTube or no? I don't know if you're connected or not.
Oh, maybe
But
they
yeah.
can't. Yeah,
Yes.
maybe they can't.
That I got you. I got you. I'm gonna post that. Okay. Yeah. I think we will need to do it that way. Right.
Yeah. So if you go to that, right, if you click on it, that's an example of a post
Yeah.
that we auto generate based on the food that you ate, and you can just share it to Twitter. You can share it to
Nice.
anyone actually. And
That's
so
cool.
so so yeah. So most people we ask them to share it to Twitter to
Mm.
enter these like contests. But this is just an organic, like
Yeah.
there was no contest going on right now
That's pretty dope.
for posting food photos on Twitter. So.
That's good. And yeah, like that's where you get like, yeah, again, like, yeah, you go to the whole funnel of acquisition and stuff via Twitter. But again, with the user generated content, that's cool. That's,
Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah,
good,
yeah.
man. You're good. I love it. It's cool.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And yeah,
And
like, so if I buy you NFT, like, what can I do now? So like, it's still orders only app, or like, do I have other benefit? Like,
no,
what's the plan?
because of the referral. So, couple things that
Yeah.
we're trying to do, right? So currently in our referral phase, we don't have any activation code. We don't have
Yeah.
any sort of barrier of entry. As long as you're invited by another person, right, you can
Yeah.
get to it. And obviously, I just posted the /start.
Yeah.
So right now for this time period, it's really for us to gain more users.
Mhm.
But we're actually gonna close that up in probably in 3 to 4 weeks. Definitely, we're gonna wait until the referral campaign is finished. Now, the reason why we're doing this, so when I started my first startup, along with Dante, who's also my co-founder now, we basically had a beta. It's very similar, and this is like 2008, 2009. We had about 10,000 people that signed up on a waiting list over maybe a couple weeks. And
Nice.
what we did was we used that as a beta, like a closed loop beta, right? And so I think what we've done earlier this year with our PFP community is all Web3 users, is all holders. And so we're going to go back to that after this phase. Why? Is because we now have both Web3 users and Web2 users,
Mhm.
because there's very different behaviors between Web 2 and Web
Yeah.
3. So I think once we hit about 10,000 users, we're going to shut it down. Shut down meaning like sort of you can actually just download at any time.
Yeah.
And to be selfish, what we're trying to do is again work out the tokenomics that works for both Web 2 and Web 3. And everybody is anticipating the bull market coming next year.
Yeah.
And so are we, right? So I do believe the next bull market, we need to have apps like yours, apps like ours,
Mm.
to drive the next wave of bull
Yeah.
market, right? Everybody's been building protocols, ZK, knowledge proof, zero
Like,
knowledge proof kind of protocol.
yeah.
But if nobody's fucking using it,
Yeah, exactly.
who gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
And so the reason why we want to close it down is because then we can test our tokenomics. We can
Mhm.
test different. I don't know if you ever heard of this term called the K factor, right? So we want to see the K
Oh.
factor of Web 2 user versus what K factor is kind of virality of your product. Like if I refer one person refer two people
Oh, yes,
or three
yes,
people,
yes.
right? So that's called a
Okay.
K factor. So
Okay.
we want to measure that between a Web 2 user in US versus a in Southeast Asia or in Asia or Taiwan where I'm
Mhm.
from,
Okay.
with a Web 2 and Web 3 users. So like compare. And so having 10,000 around 10,000 user allows us to do that. And
Okay.
and so again, that's kind of the reason why we want to then to say, hey, after this phase, only holders can now join.
Mm.
We'll turn back on the activation code. We'll turn back on all those friction points. Why? Because we only want holders or people that are in the community to be able to invite others. So you should be able to invite people, but you can just go to getplato.app/start to,
Mhm.
to come in. And so this is really where we're trying to build that uh, closed loop community where we
Mhm.
can test certain things. And actually, out of the 10,000, it's like who is high engagement and who isn't. And so that when we go out and maybe go back to public beta or maybe to be public on the App Store, we
Mhm.
can know what type of users we actually want to get. So these are all learnings for us
That's
because
cool.
being the third startup, we know that we got to make mistakes. We got to make mistakes fast, but then fix them or learn from them. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of the learning environment that we want to give ourselves.
That's massive. Yeah. So basically, you're preparing like to really onboard like 1 million Web3 users on the app, like as soon as like Bitcoin is going
Bull
back to
market, yeah.
100K. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah. I mean,
And
imagine Steppen
yeah,
kind of started not towards the end tail of the bull
yeah.
market, but the start. Like if you look at Axie Infinity,
Mhm.
Axie Infinity started at the start of
Yeah.
last bull market, and they ride that fucking wave like no
Mm.
other, right? And so anyway, so yeah.
Oh, so, sorry, but like, do you think like project that launch now or like even before the next bull market will have like the chance to ride the bull market? Not because you jump into a new project when it's like before the hype and the craziness because you feel you are early, right? But if you catch up on a project that was here like 2 years ago and on the next bull market that happened here again like in the next year or even in 2025, do you feel that the sentiment is the same of like, okay, I'm early, I have to go and I have to go in right now, and then the onboarding is even easier?
Yeah, no, I think most Web3 users that are trying to get into projects, they want to get in early, right?
Mm,
They want to say, hey, I was there, you know,
yeah,
like below 10,000 user or below
yeah,
5,000 users. I think, and the reason why they want to do that is because they want to catch that speculative wave,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Now, whether you're, a Plato users, in the beginning because you're a
Mm,
holder, because you're early adopter, to kind of later, I think for us, we want to reward you for testing with us. We want to reward you for, go through the learning pains with us. And so I think that, I think we've done some stuff with our PFP holders who are what we call the supper club and the AA club, the Alcohol Anonymous Club. So basically, with our PFP,
mhm,
we have people, PFP holding different type of food. And so earlier on, we basically say, hey, if you're a PFP holders, you get to win. We did this like $100 per week that we give away for people to have dinner. And this is before the app came out, right? It's
Yeah.
like, show us your receipt, you enter a chance to win. And so that's a much smaller pool. And so as a supper club holder, you can win much higher chance versus just a regular PFP holder. I guess what I'm trying to say is, we always believe that we want to reward people that are earlier with us, whether, again, whether you're a holder, whether you're early adopter, that's our mentality. How that
Mm.
come to fruition in terms of, hey, it's like end of 2024 or beginning of 2025, we're like in the bull market, how that will be, how that translates to an early adopter reward versus a later adopter reward. I can't foresee that far,
Yeah.
but I just know that our mentality is we want to reward early adopters. And we have a history of doing that. So yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's big. A question about the reviews. Like I know, like Yelp had like the issues that people are like reviewing only when it's bad and when the place is good, and especially with the French people, because like if it's good, if it's all right, like it's just normal, and
Yeah,
then
they
we
don't.
don't
Yeah,
tell anyone.
they review
Exactly.
when it's bad. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so basically, yeah, a lot of restaurants get bombed by like customers that were not happy because like the waitress was busy and she didn't handle a customer like in the next 15 seconds. But you have thousands of other customers that have the best food in their life, but they don't have the review on the app. So is that
That's
like
right.
the fact that you have the reward, like no matter what, you have like
Yes.
good and bad
Exactly.
reviews? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And if you actually ask some of the early users who use the app, like
Mm.
we made you, have to capture the food receipt, but we
Yeah,
also made you have to post pictures, whether it's the first time, second time,
that's
third
cool.
time. But we made it easier now, where it's
Mm.
you get rewarded for posting review, but it's a bonus reward after you check in and
Yeah, okay.
capture receipt. So meaning that if you
That's
don't
smart.
say, hey, I like this food or don't like this food, it's
Mhm.
okay. But when you do, whether you like it or not, you get rewarded. So it's not like you get rewarded when you rewarded for good
Yeah.
or you only get rewarded for bad. It's whether it's meh or really good or oh that's
Mm.
shit, you get rewarded the same.
That's dope.
So yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
And
And
so the what we
okay.
call so the way you earn Dine tokens is the following, right? One, we have what we call the base reward, and that base reward is depend on how much you spent at the restaurant. So that's when you
Mhm.
capture the receipt. We basically say, oh, you spend 20 euros or 5 euros or 30 euros, right? Whatever it is that you spend, or maybe Taiwanese dollars, and we convert that,
Mhm.
right? And then we say, okay, this is amount of Dine tokens that you earn. Now, the second is what we call the multiplier reward. So if you own a PFP, if you own an NFT, so we have the Plato East Pass, we have the Plato NFT table. So if you own those, then you get a multiplier. So a lot of our
Nice.
holders get that multiplier. And so you could maybe earn 24 Dine tokens for a meal. That is
That's
what,
dope.
$60, $70. But you will get maybe like 120 Dine tokens because you are a holder. And depending on the rarity of the table, you get more. So that's the multiplier.
Mhm.
And then the lastly is the bonus for review. So if you capture a review, let's say 2 hours later, 3 hours later, or up to 3 days, and you write a review about the food, you get that bonus reward. So those are the ways that we actually reward Dine tokens.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's smart. That's the nice way to do it. And like yesterday you mentioned about like the tokenomics and stuff. So right now and like how to maintain sustainability and how to resolve that problem with like the price, etc., etc. So right now you can sell your Dine token, right? It's like an in-app ecosystem token that you have. You keep it and you use it inside the app, right?
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can. So right now we don't allow users to actually. We don't allow user to actually put it onto their crypto wallet. And again,
Yeah.
it's for the same reason, right?
Yeah.
We've spoken with some of the early investors in StepN,
Mm.
in sort of Axios Affinity, and they all tell us like, hey, don't do it too early. Don't give
Mhm.
people the ability to build a DEX too early. I mean, we want to, but we
Mhm.
also don't want a quick death to Plato.
Mm.
And so I think we're striking that balance. And so, but I think you guys have a different approach. So
Yeah.
I'd love to see how that works. And I'm not saying
Mm.
again, I don't think
I
we
have.
know everything. We don't know
Yeah.
everything. So
Yeah.
so we need to test. So
Yeah.
if we see like, hey, you guys are doing really like maybe we'll try it as well. So
Mm.
but those are kind of the current thinking, which
Yeah.
could change based on what we see and what we learn.
Mm.
Because yeah,
Yeah, like honestly, like I definitely understand. Like again, like if you we have early watchers that earn like $1 per minute, and then in 2 weeks because the emission is too high and stuff like that, after that it's 10 cent. Then the like also you put a price on your asset, right? So then you
yes,
fly, and then it's a fucking pump and dump, right? But if we have like not like also because the mint is in our own token, then we're gonna get back a lot of liquidity back, and we also have multiple batches. So like there will be speculation of like keeping your views, not really dump it, etc. And everything, like for example, like you booked the show for $100. Um, what if I tell you, okay, so buy like 1,000, 10,000 views, and then which is will be worth the same price, and then boom, like you we have also like the utility of the token that and like this circulation is taking out, right? And because it's like the token it has a finite supply, that should work. But we need to do a
yeah,
lot of stream. We need to like it's my
yeah,
job,
yeah, yeah.
it's our job, like to make it sustainable and worth it. But yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, no, like
Yeah,
I said, we don't know. We only kind of know what other people have learned and told
yeah,
us. And again, those things are based on a very different condition
yeah,
than
no,
where we're at
100%.
today.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So,
But yeah,
yeah,
but like for example, for the gods, like one of the projects that actually I follow since forever.
yes,
What put the god on the map was like the dust launch.
yes,
Like they put the god, and they, like you print money, and then you create a community that get,
yes,
and then you take your asset to $1,000. Right now it's tricky because hey, yeah, we earn less dust, and point pilot doesn't give you like every day a couple of dust, so it's tricky. So that kind of illustrate what you're saying about like the tokenomics, right? Like it
yes,
works for 2 years, but then after that, what do you do? Do you do
yeah,
point
yeah,
apps?
yeah.
It's yeah, it's tricky
And
as fuck.
yeah, no, I think I think what was the project that they did? So remember earlier this year on Solana, there was a project. I think it was called fuck, I forgot what it's called. They gave everybody some tokens into their wallet.
Bonk?
Bunk, bunk.
Yeah.
And I was actually I was watching how Bunk was gonna
Mm.
do, right? Because they somehow generate a bunch of hype. They minted a bunch of tokens and gave everybody with Solana wallet with certain
Yeah.
amount. Um, and so actually I need to follow up what happened to them because it's
Oh,
like they
nothing.
for like 3-4 weeks, man, they were like fucking hyped as motherfucker.
It
So
was. I'm pretty sure it was highly manipulated. Like you have like yeah.
but hey, like I remember a friend of mine, he redeemed like his bunk for like, I don't know, 60, 70 US dollar, like
Yeah.
USDC. So,
I'm at, I'm at 20K with like Bonk and Frank. Like
yeah.
in 2 days because I had a big huge stack of like Smiths, ABCs, and
Mm,
D gods.
okay.
20K in like 2 weeks. I sell like right away. Like
Wow.
I get that shit coin, I sell it right away. I'm not even looking at the price. I went to fucking Jupiter. I sell everything. I don't want to touch shit coin at all. I had that like the whole concept, like bro, that's driving me crazy. Like the whole concept of shit coins, like bro, like okay.
Well, I mean, that's why they call it shit coins, right? So,
Exactly. Like, but that's what that bro. That's exactly why we are doing this channel. Like if you have a sustainable business, like you don't need to be an aggregated investor to invest in Plateau, right? You can
yeah,
sweep the floor, and in a way, you can expect some return of investment in a way with your NFT. High SEC, high, but
that's right.
like it's a market that where if you only need to bet on one project that will 1000x your portfolio.
That's right. That's
And
right.
I think if you bet on businesses, then you increase your chance of success. Success can be guaranteed, but instead of buying Bonk, buy Plato and buy decoders. Main decoders, so 3 of October's.
That's right. That's
But you
right.
know what I mean?
No,
Like it's
honestly, like,
that's the whole purpose of it.
Yeah. No, honestly, I think you're right. Is that if there is a business behind it, right?
Exactly.
I think, and if you look at DGOTS, right, the DGOT,
Mhm.
the brand is the business, right? So
Exactly.
if you look at
Yes.
Board
Yeah.
Apes is the brand, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think they grew up in a very different time
Yes.
where they were able to grab a hold of kind of early adopters and
Mhm.
then build a brand around it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm not that good of a hyper.
Mhm.
My background is in mobile development, and I'm
Yeah.
an engineer at heart. And
Mm.
so, I would say that, you got like they can pull it off. And I'm sure, you and your team, have
Yeah.
a really good chance of not only build that hype, but also build that business. And I think
Yeah.
that's the winning combo, right?
Yeah.
And I think for us, I definitely think that your point around that business is really what, not only what makes
Mhm.
sense, because ultimately, right, you need to have a paying customer, and your paying
Exactly.
customers are people that are creating content and
Yeah.
want to get eyeballs and want to
Exactly.
get verified views.
Yeah.
So
No, exactly. And honestly, like I same thing, same position. I'm a software engineer. Like I don't know how to drive 1 million impression on a web page in 24 hours. Like, and
right.
that's what Digot did in November 2021.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
Solampus event. I don't know if you remember that, but they had one
Yeah.
page with like 33 influencers. And after this event, that's my PFE. I won that PFE. I got lucky, so whatever. But like this page with like 33 influencers in the end-ish of the bull market, 1 million impression in 24 hours.
Right.
I don't know
Right.
how to do that. What I know how to do is like bringing a business from 0 to 1 million in revenue because of software shit. And that's exactly what we are doing with this channel. And it's going to take time. It's not going to it took us like a year to get into like, 8,000 subscribers and stuff like that on YouTube. Fair enough. But I know in 6 months, we're going to generate like thousands of dollars because of stream, because of sponsorship, affiliate marketing, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we increase our chance of success by
Yes.
just targeting a business. And for you, it's the same thing. Like you're building a
Yeah.
business, you have like we have the same profile of the company.
It's true.
It
It's
it
true.
it,
Yeah.
it takes like a little bit longer than hyper growth project, but we will get there for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean that's why again when Fobar kind of introduced me
Yeah,
to the project, I was like, oh shit, this is like really really
yeah,
like I thought about it, but content video content creation wasn't something that I'm like that I've done, but I was like, hey, I could see this,
mm,
definitely taking off. So
yeah,
but yeah, so that's why I feel like it's such a natural. It's almost like you and I were doing a very similar thing, but in parallel
yeah.
markets. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's put each other, man. Like you can come back whenever you want on this channel when
Oh,
you want to do like product announcement and stuff like that. We
oh, for
can come
sure.
back
I
to
mean,
Europe.
you
That's
guys
very
are
cool.
minting what, October
Yeah,
3rd, right?
next week.
October
Yeah, the week after.
a week after. And
Yeah.
so yeah, love to have you maybe when is October 3rd? Is that a Tuesday or Wednesday? Let me see.
It's a Tuesday. Yes.
Tuesday. Love to have you on if you're not too busy on the 4th, because every Wednesday, right? We have our weekly luncheon, and so that would be weekly luncheon number 23, I believe. So
Mm.
love to have you on and tell us about all the fucking hype and all the fucking people in your
Yeah.
Discord and minting on your
Uh,
fucking community. So
can we do that on the 5th? Because on like I'm
sure.
doing a 24-hour stream.
Oh,
Uh,
that's right. That's right. I'd love to
so
be
it's
on. I'll,
possible
I'll
that
come up. I'll
yeah,
pop on. I'm not going
come,
to stay with you for 24
yeah.
hours, but I'll pop on, man. So
Why
yeah,
not? You
sounds
can
good.
co-host on the show. But yeah, come in the chat. I will drop you the link, and you can come in on the channel because basically what we're going to do, like right now, the marathon that we are doing is like so 2 streams a day for like people who we didn't have on the channel yet. So
Yeah.
that's like bring like new guests and stuff. And like 24-hour stream is like people who are already stream with. But no, we are streamed together. You can come back during the 24-hour stream.
Awesome.
That would
Awesome.
be
I love it.
awesome. And by the way, for any foodies in the chat that are not on the Decoders Discord yet, because you're all foodies, you will also have like OG whitelist for the Decoders. The whole mint is like first come, first save. You only need like 1,440 views to mint. But if you have that, you will probably be sure like that you will have the NFTs. And yeah, so you can earn by watching a stream like that, or by the views on FFF. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
that's
Hey,
the
man,
fact.
appreciate that.
We,
Appreciate
we're
that.
taking
We'll
care
have
of
that.
like the partners. Yeah.
I want to get some emoji, baby. I want to get some emoji.
But you can come on Discord. I will give you all of the founders, VIPs, ever, like everything. I will give you
Awesome,
everything, bro.
awesome.
I
Yeah,
got you
we'll,
black.
we'll we'll put that in our holders channel.
Nice.
Let our holders know.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I can't wait to have a holders channel, like a cozy holders channel. But that's gonna be so
So
nice.
actually, one thing that we really liked, and really kudos to some of these folks. There's a small number of hoodies we call the hardcore testers,
Mhm.
and and they've been really good. And actually, I keep on forgetting, but we reward them with some of the PFPs, but
Mhm.
also we basically they sometimes get like major updates first
Okay,
before
that's
we
cool.
roll it to everybody. And so I actually need to get back to them on what the next reward for them. But these are really good guys. That really are
That's cool.
active tester and really help us a lot with
Mm.
some of our testing. So
Yeah.
really kudos to them. So
Yeah, we have to take care of the people, like diehard fan that we have in the
diehard
community.
fan, yeah, for sure.
Exactly. And that's what I like with Web3 too, because again, like everyone is on Discord, you can talk to them all the time, 24/7. It's
Yep.
amazing. Like this industry is really exciting.
I mean, I talk about this all the time, and
Yeah.
it's like building twice in Web 2 versus one, our first time in Web 3.
Mhm.
It's super good in terms of like getting that immediate feedback, getting that like,
Yeah.
hey, you guys shit sucks, or like, because I would say in the beginning we were supposed to burn our PFP so that
Mhm.
you can get our NFT table inside of our app, and fucking everybody hated it and all that, and so we got immediate feedback. And so again, like sometimes it's not, sometimes I feel like we can't do everything what your community wants, because
Yeah.
then we can't make everybody happy. But there are some, things that it's good to listen to the people in your community. So, but anyway,
That-
so yeah,
and
yeah.
that's really hard because okay, how do you listen, like how do you value feedback from your community? Because also as a team, like you have variables and you know that you took this decision because your experience, like the data that you have on the app and stuff that people don't see or don't have access, and it's normal because that's not their role too. So how do you value feedback from a holder that hold one of your NFT, or even like the feedback of someone who hold like 100 NFTs, but their IDs are like shit or not really valuable? How do you manage that?
So yeah, I mean, I think this is just again, this is just from a data point of one, which is you have whales, right? You have
Mm.
people. I know we have a couple of whales that have over 100 PFPs and a bunch of NFT tables, and are very frequent users of the app, but they don't say much. Versus we have
Mm.
few folks who very vocal. I mean, they're not holding 100 PFP, but they're holding enough,
Yeah.
but very vocal. And I think those are the vocal ones who are involved using the app, using your product. I think those are the ones that you want to highly engage,
Yeah.
obviously, and kind of talk to your customer, right? So
Mm.
I think that's what I found. The kind of the distinction. I'm not saying not to listen to the whale.
Yeah.
The whale does say stuff, just not very often. And when they
Mhm.
do say stuff, like be like, hey, does this actually make sense? Is he just being selfish, or is he being good to the rest of the community?
Yeah.
And I think if you can strike that balance, and again, right, it's able to use whether it's Matrica or other ways to know,
Yeah.
hey, what role does this person have, right? Kind of
Yeah.
what we're trying to do
I love
with
that.
the restaurant merchant is like,
Yeah.
is this a sushi connoisseur, or is
Yeah.
this a whale holder, right?
Mm.
And within our community, we can kind of figure out where's the signal coming from. Because if
Mm.
somebody would say, "Oh, your shit sucks," it doesn't work, and he's a newbie and he never used the app to dine, then I'm gonna ignore that shit, right? But
Yeah.
like, use it a couple times, then tell me, right?
Yeah.
Now if their onboarding sucks, then
Yeah.
then that's your fault, right?
Yeah.
So
And honestly, like be able like to take the good and trash the shit from like people, even like for the team or like even yourself, right? Like you
Yeah.
can think about something and you can have an idea that doesn't make any sense with the market, like market condition and stuff like that. It's really, really, really hard to do. But
Yes.
yeah, try some shit, and then you try some new shit.
Yeah. You try some shit. If it doesn't work, you try some new
Exactly.
shit and see if
Yeah,
it works.
exactly.
And if that new shit doesn't work, you try some new shit.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's really about
Yeah.
kind of test and fail fast
Mhm.
as much as you can. Really,
Yeah.
it's
No,
really
100%.
about that.
100%.
I really believe that's how you build
Yeah.
a product that will fit the market.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
No,
cool,
100%.
man.
And like, is your business like sustainable right now? Like the project, like you're making money, like
No,
to cover
no.
your run rate and stuff?
No, so we were fortunate enough to close around a pre-seed funding just over
Yeah, that's
seven
cool.
figures in
Yeah, that's
pre-seed
cool.
funding. And we have investors, Web3 investors mostly, Z
Mhm.
Prime Capital, Hypersphere, and then a Web2 fund called Cyber Asian Ventures out of Japan. They also invest in my last startup. And then
Nice.
we have a family office in Hong Kong that also gave us some money.
Mhm.
So no, right now is not sustainable in
Mhm.
terms of we don't have any like we
Gotcha.
have a little bit of revenue coming from some of the restaurant we're testing, but
Mhm.
again, it's not anything. We're pre-revenue,
Yeah,
if you will. So.
that's cool. That's cool. And like the Web3 revenue, like royalties and stuff, like is that not
Yeah,
sustainable, but is
yeah,
that
it comes, but
consistent?
I
Yeah.
don't. Again, that's not the main business.
Yeah. No, 100%.
I think when I looked at StepIn, right, a lot of their business comes
Mm.
from the transaction fee, uh,
Yeah.
I don't think that's not what I want to base the business out of on.
Mhm.
Honestly, I want to base the business on real world dollars that are being spent by merchants. That's
Mm.
much bigger and that's
Yeah.
much more sustainable.
Uh,
So
it's a big challenge, but yeah, if you
it's a
can
big
like,
challenge. I
yeah,
mean,
if you,
yeah, it's a huge challenge. I mean, if you
yeah,
kind of look at, in the past, what happened to Foursquare, what happened
yeah,
to Yelp, right?
mm,
It take years to build. I mean, if you look
yeah,
at Uber right now, Uber Eats,
mm,
Uber is barely profitable. And
yeah,
when did they start? Like 10, 12 years ago, maybe more.
yeah. So
And
you have
so,
5 years, 10
yeah,
years,
yeah,
eight
yeah.
years.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not saying what we're building is not profitable. I think it's
Yeah,
much more profitable than them
yeah,
because if you look at a lot of the advertising, like YouTube or
mm,
Google Ads, the biggest spend is
yeah,
on the people that are calling the business, be like, hey, you want to do
yeah,
some Google Ads? You want to do some Google Ads? And that's the biz dev team that I'm talking about, where
mm.
we want our users to be that biz dev team
Oh, yeah,
because they
amazing.
love they love their restaurant and be like, hey, you should try this. You could try do ads where 70% of what they spend. I don't know if I mentioned this. If you're a restaurant, you spend $100 on marketing,
Mm,
70% of that goes back to the people that actually check in and eat there. So that's really
that's cool.
that's really the big difference
Yeah,
between what we're trying to do as a quote unquote digital
nice,
marketing for retail versus, let's say, Yelp or
nice.
Facebook or TripAdvisor. So
That's amazing, man. Okay, I really like your business, your app, your project. Uh, I think I will need to sweep the floor really soon, and we can,
sweep it, baby, sweep
yeah.
it, sweep it, sweep it.
And yeah, we need to continue this collaboration, and that yeah, we
Oh
can.
yeah, no,
Yeah, I will.
I definitely think I have a lot of high hopes for you guys, and love
Me
to
too.
keep in touch. And yeah, maybe we can wrap it up in the next couple of
Yes,
minutes.
yes, sir. Because we both busy, and I will let you go back to the grinding.
Yes, back to the grind.
Sorry about that.
Back to the grind.
But
But
yeah,
yeah, any other things I saw
no,
somebody was asking about, like, is it only available in the US? No, it's available
yeah,
everywhere. Check out and download the app. It's on one of the
yes.
comment up there.
Mhm.
Basically, get plato.app/start.
Wow.
And yeah, for now, we're opening it up. But like I said, once we reach close to 10,000, we're gonna shut it down. and going back to what we call the private, much more closed loop beta,
Yeah.
where you can still get in, but you need to have activation code. You need to have all these. You need to have other people inviting you. So,
Yeah, that's
but
cool.
for now, for the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're opening up to a lot of people. So
Wonderful. Okay, so everyone in the chat, make sure you are into the Plato app. I have to do it myself. Let me put that in my to-do list for the day.
it's all good.
That's it. It will be done. I will be in the early 10,000 users. See you in the auto chat anytime soon.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Robert. I think we should wrap it up because again, like, but busy and want to build. Everyone, thank you so much for like your participation in the chat. Thank you for watching the show. Claim your views right now before I disable the stream and move to the next one, because if it's disabled, you can't claim your views anymore until the replays. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you, Robert. And yeah, we'll talk in the DM and see how we can work together in the next. We can just continue to work. Cheers.
Awesome.
See you, man.
Have a good one, man.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.